Well, long time no see. Since last semester when I did all the videos, I just haven't felt like it was necessarily needed this semester, but I wanted to, since you're all in the teaching experience, and I wanted to, and you've done Project 1, and we're finishing up Project 2. I did want to go over a little bit Project 3, because it's kind of confusing with all the pieces and parts. This is new. It's not new, it's revised. So if you have printed it off before, go back, print it off again, because I've tried to make it a little bit clearer. We start on April 3rd. Many of you are kind of ahead of the game. The project is really focused on the IEP. Now, a lot of you have done IEPs, or you've had to learn kind of on the job how to do IEPs. And so we're kind of backtracking a little bit and looking at those only those unique parts related to children with hearing loss. And for some of you, this is new. So you may not have, you've seen IEPs, but you've not written IEPs. So the first thing is to read there's a handbook online, and it really is focused on the unique aspects of children with hearing loss and focusing on those two questions of eligibility. One is there a disability, and documentation for that. And then the second is the need for special ed. So the fact that the disability may or may not reflect a need for special ed. So you have to answer both of those questions. And so this is the link to the handbook. It has case studies that are particularly, that are children with hearing loss. And so you might kind of enjoy looking at those case studies and looking at how they answer those two questions. The IEP forms that we link to in this project are the new forms. So we are in transition here in Wisconsin. There are new revised forms that walk you through a pretty detailed process for doing an IEP. And so some of you your districts or your CSAs are using the old forms, and some have revised them to use the new forms. I'm linking you in this project to the new forms, which are on the DPI website. And those are the forms we'll use. So you want to look at the forms. The third part is I have two examples of IEPs. It's always fun, I think. I'm going to sneeze here just a minute. Excuse me. It's always fun to look at how other people write IEPs, right? You only have your examples in your CSAs in your district. So now the sample one is an annual IEP, so it's redoing the, not so much the eligibility, but doing the IEP goals and objectives, the review of current level of performance. And so, these both are really good examples. And then the second one is an initial IEP. So it's a new student who was referred, and it's the whole process. The first one does not necessarily incorporate the new forms. The second one does. And so this is the project, really. We're focusing on eligibility. We're focusing on special factors. And we're focusing on then IEP goals and objectives, which are not required for most students, although it is good to have a couple of objectives or benchmarks that give you a little bit of guidance. So the project has two major tasks. The first one is that you select a student. It could be a student you've already done an IEP for, and you are just rethinking now that you have a little time to sit back, have read some more information, have looked at a couple of examples, and this is your opportunity to kind of rethink perhaps some of what you did the first time around. For those who have not done an IEP, then you get to complete these forms for the first time yourself. The first is the I-9 eligibility worksheet, and I link to the new forms on DPI. They're going to look very much like the forms your district has used, but use these forms. You want to type it in, fine. You want to write it in, fine. Either way. The second is special factors. And special factors are particularly for students with sensory disabilities and more severe behavior issues, and includes for deaf and hard of hearing. The most important part is the communication part. So what are the communication needs? What's the language? And the idea that students should have opportunities to interact with others who are using their primary mode, language of communication. So this links to a worksheet that was created specifically for DHH. And the first question, or A, B, and C, are not very related to deaf and hard of hearing, but part D is. And so I'd like you to print that out, complete it all the way through. Again, generally you're going to say no, 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 and then on D, you'll have to think about what are the communication special factors for your student. And if you complete that part, that will help you then with this part of the IEP, which is the special factors part. And then I'd like you to submit one academic goal and one functional goal. Now the functional goals are sort of what we did in Project 2. So you may draw a functional goal from Project 2 and incorporate it here. I kind of lead you to the right form. This form has a lot in it, but really you're going to hone in right on the measurable annual goals, and you'll do 2. And one will be academic, one will be functional. I do ask you to do at least 2 benchmarks for each of those goals. So again, thinking about how you're going to get to those goals. So there are essentially three sheets, 3 parts of the IEP that you're submitting. And then to do a 5-minute video of instruction with your focus students related to one of the goals. So it could be the academic goal or the functional goal. And on your blog to talk about what did the student learn and what would you do differently. So that's basically the project, and this is an overview. Again, we will be giving feedback via the teaching journal, and then would like to also set up a Skype. So hopefully this helps explain a little bit more about this project. Again, you're going to all come at it from different levels of experience. There are those of you who are deep into the IEP process and all the changes, and you know all of this, so that we're just going to focus in on looking at one student. And then there are those of you who are just learning the process. This gives you some models to look at and an opportunity to work through key worksheets that are important for students who are deaf and hard of hearing. If you have any questions, Amber and I are more than happy to answer them. So we're almost through the semester. I hope it's been good for all of you. We will talk to you hopefully soon.